Welcome to the GM Skills Awards vlogcast. It's a series that's going to be celebrating the exceptional individuals and organisations making a real difference through skills, learning and workforce development across Greater Manchester. So I'm Hannah. I work for GMLPN as the Network Coordinator. And in each episode, we'll be speaking with one of our GM Skills Awards winners to hear more about their journey, achievements and the impact of their work. Today, I'm delighted to be joined by winner of SME of the Year 2026 for GM Skills Awards, and that is Grubs Boots. So we're joined by David Foster, CEO of Grubs Boots. Would you like to introduce yourself, David, as well? Anything you'd like to say before we hand over to Ollie?
I think you've pretty much summed it up. Yes, so it's a great honour to be here, Hannah, and thank you very much to Ollie and his team at Edge Foundation for sponsoring the awards. Thank you so much.
Thanks, David. And as David said, obviously this episode is proudly sponsored by the Edge Foundation, and we are joined by Ollie Newton, Executive Director for the Edge Foundation. So before we get into the questions, Ollie, please do tell us a little bit more about yourself and the work that Edge Foundation are doing. Thank you.
Thanks, Hannah. It's absolutely lovely to be here with you and David. So, we're an education charity working right across the UK, trying to help more young people find their way into a really good career, whether that's through kind of broader education, really good vocational education, and of course, apprenticeships are a key part of that. So we're big fans of apprenticeships. We've been running a campaign this year, helping more SMEs to offer apprenticeships. So this fitted really nicely, and it's lovely to celebrate the amazing work that David's doing in what is now the new capital of the UK, in Manchester.
Fantastic.
Well said.
Fantastic. Thanks for that, Ollie. I think what we'll do now is get started with those questions. So I'll hand back to you and we'll kick off with that.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Welcome, David. And I know people will be listening to this as a podcast, so you won't be able to see that David is sitting in front of several pairs of boots. So imagine that in your head as you're listening to this. You have to. But David, it's great to see you. What does winning the SME of the Year awards at GM Skills Awards this year mean to you at Grubs Boots?
Well, I think, first of all, it's obviously a great honour to be recognised by yourselves and GMCA. We've been in business, my wife and I now 26 years. And it's a real vindication of our belief really in the future of the UK footwear market. We're constantly evolving our business with technologies, social media and online markets, and shopping is continually changing online as well, and we're constantly chasing an ever-moving target. So it is a constant matter of change, and we've noticed this when I first started making footwear a long time ago. The last 5 to 10 years have seen the growth of online, but it's the growth of technology. Now we have new things like AI, and we're embracing that as something new as well. So we're doing a lot of AI-based advertising, which is allowing us to do lots of wonderful, entertaining social media. So to be recognised for that kind of work that we're doing is absolutely awesome. Thank you so much.
That's great, David. And it sounds like you're really moving with the times, but also, like many SMEs, you are a family-owned business, which is great, and it brings that kind of culture of the extended family. So tell us a little bit about the organisation. How many people are in it, and how do you kind of make things feel in that kind of family for your team?
Well, being a family-owned business, and particularly ourselves, with the history that we've got in athletics, just footwear, it's a real sort of double-edged sword. It's both a great honour and a tremendous responsibility. I mean, my great-grandfather was a founding father of modern athletics. He was part of he established the northern part of the Amateur Athletics Association, the 3As, He established the local running club. So, and he was probably the first guy, though we can't pin it on him, 100%, but probably the first guy to invent the spike running shoe. So if you've ever seen the film Chariots of Fire, you begin to sort of feel that weight pushing down on you, on your shoulders, to which to then be recognised by your peers now. It's a great counter to that. So it's proof that we're not just the past; we're also part of the present as well.
Wow, what a cool bit of family history. I'm sure I'm not the only one now who's imagining David running across the beach. Dun, da, 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 da. That's what you get on the weekend.
That's what I mean. Everybody knows that music and that scene.
It switches you right in, doesn't it?
Yeah, to think that my great granddad put the shoes on Abrams and Liddell, it sits there in the background. So yeah, it is nice to see that what we're doing is also, has got a validity, that we're still moving with the times. I mean, he was really futuristic when he did his thing. Suddenly decide, okay, if I put spikes in shoes, that's going to make extra performance. That's the future. And now we're kind of embracing technologies in our footwear, with super grippy rubber compounds that work on wet and icy surfaces, cushioning from running shoe technology into, our wellies, we would call it in this country, and selling our boots all the way from Alaska down to the South Island of New Zealand. We're still at it. I guess is really the point.
I love that. So it's cutting edge in Grandad's time, and it's still cutting edge now, but with very different technologies. I love that. So I mean, it really sounds like you're building on that past, but very much kind of looking to the future. So for you, kind of, why is it important, kind of investing in that next generation of skills and workforce?
I guess for us, the way that we look at it, it's really something that media is moving so fast. I mean, I'm old enough to remember Friends Reunited. Not that I really understood it, but I remember it. And where is that now? It's gone. Now it's all Snapchat and TikTok. What's next? It's always, I remember being a kid, being a teenager, and hearing electronic music out after punk. And so I was into all that kind of thing. It was always what's next, and it's always the youth. It's the youth that pick up and drive what's the next new thing, the new trends, the new fashion. So it's important for a business. I mean, I'm sitting here now. I've now had a significant birthday, and I look at it and I realise that my daughters, the youngest one now is 27, and I'm 30. So we need that youth. And in fact, I tell them, you need younger people. So we need to invest in bringing young people in their teens into the business to help us drive the business forward and stay relevant. It's kind of like for me, now being over 40 years in business, it's a flash in the pan, since I first walked into a shoe factory and started cutting patterns for my dad. But so much has changed. And, just the internet, that's changed everything. And computing power is increasing. We now have AI. I was on a recent trip to China, and, you see robots everywhere. So, it is. I can't really stress it enough. And my contemporaries now in business, I have to say to them, if you are not investing in our youth now, and I believe there's a million of them unemployed, not in education, etc. This is a wasted opportunity. Those, and I'm going to say kids, those young people, they are the future. They are the future entrepreneurs. They are me in 40 years' time. They will drive our economy when I'm gone. So we, my generation, need to start to invest and really champion this youth that has been, so many people call it lost. I don't see that. I think it's actually just an opportunity. So yeah, I'm a big like I say advocate for investing in the youth of today. We just, it's not a question of will we do it, can we do it? No, we have to do it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, David. I had to switch my sound off there because I was clapping so hard and want people to miss what you were saying. But yeah, you're absolutely right. There is that responsibility. And with the Milburn review that's happening at the moment around the country, looking at that group of young people who are not in education, employment or training, that's like a tragedy for them, but it's a tragedy for small businesses like yours as well. Those are the young people who could be your next entrepreneur, your next tech leader, your next person who's taking those cool new materials you just mentioned and adding them to your shoes. So we all need to be investing in them. Yeah. So if others who are listening, maybe other SME leaders are kind of convinced that you're right, that we should be doing more, what advice, you've obviously employed a lot of apprentices now over the years, what advice would you give to an SME who was going to be maybe applying an apprentice for the first time? How should they kind of go about that with a positive mindset?
I would say it's not an option. It's essential. As I've said, I can make shoes as well as, if not better than anyone else. But when it comes to technology, I'm totally lost. As a business, we need those skilled people who are not just skilled, but involved in technology, involved in social media, involved in social marketing, involved in social sales, because it is social selling. Online selling is social selling. It's nothing else. It used to be you walk into a store and, you had to have the sales assistant that smiled and asked you how you were. And, when you left, corny Americanism, but have a nice day, just made you feel better, Now we need that same level of involvement and proactivity online. And the people who are going to deliver that are the young people of today. It's not me. It's not my beautiful wife. It's my daughters, and in fact, they're now in their 20s, mid to late 20s. I have to be careful when I say that. They're now on the edge of being a little bit old to learn new things, So to me, it's the people who are leaving school at 18, and a lot of them are deciding not to go to university because of the expense of that, and therefore then the ongoing debt involved in that. Someone who's put like three girls through university, I totally understand it. But also those that do go to university, like my youngest daughter, she went into university to do flood management and thought, okay, yeah, I'll get an apprenticeship at either the Environment Agency or United Utilities, and wham, bam, COVID. So she completely missed that. They were taking nobody on. What can I do? Our business, we were kind of semi-lucky because we were classed as essential, involved with agriculture, food production. So we continue to work at a smaller scale. A lot of our customers, though, were shut Um, so we turned around and said, look, we can't help you. We can't give you a job. And she ended up going working at Amazon at night, 6 days a week. And I would say that was it was very, very tough, but it was a good education for her, to learn that this is reality out there, and it's sitting on the end of a line where the computer tells you this is how big the box is and this is how much tape you get, and you have 2 seconds to wrap that parcel, put a sticker on it, and put it back on the tray. And brutal, but that is life, you know. So that's good, but we need to give that kind of education to the youth of today. You know, we need to bring them in. I mean, the young guy we took on 18 months ago, yeah, he had that. It was like, yeah, we'll and we'll teach you. We want you to be part of social marketing. That's the job role. But also, you know, we get containers delivered, so you're going to have to get in the container and take boxes out of the container. You're going to, when we're really busy, help us pick and pack. So it's a good business education as well, and a work education, and to change the attitude from one of what are you going to do for me? In the words of John F. Kennedy, you know, what are you going to do for me, to what can I do for you? You know, what can I do for my country? What can I do for the business?
Yeah, absolutely right. Absolutely right. I really like what you were saying, particularly about the need for people to think both through the lens of like, this is something we should do, like that there's a social imperative, but also what's in the best interest of your business. Like, these are people who can help to take your product or whatever you're doing, whatever business you're doing, to a new market, sell it in different ways. So there's a real kind of business imperative there as well. And we're coming towards the end of our time together, David, but just tell us a little bit about how you've worked with training providers as part of the apprenticeship, because that's another thing that SMEs are often kind of interested in.
I have to say, I mean, we've worked with Bolton College. They've been hugely supportive. We started with one apprentice, and to be fair, after 6 months, it wasn't for him. So he decided to leave and go work in a call center of all places. But it was sort of like, okay, no hard feelings. That's the way. And we started again. Bolton College, not an issue. I thought it was going to be, no, we've got to start again. Got to reapply. Got to do this. And Mark Smith, I have to say, le chapeau, hats off to Mark Smith. He was an absolute star all the way through, and he is not just tutored, but he is mentored. Lucas, who's our guy, tremendously. At every single twist and turn, it's been not just okay, yeah, that's all right. It's, come on, if you put just a little bit more in, then you can get that next level. We should be let's aim for the stars, not for, the clouds. So he's been absolutely brilliant. I couldn't wish for more, really.
That's great to hear, David. Such a nice and important relationship between the employer and the training provider to make this really work. So let's finish with a highlight, and just ask you to tell us a little bit about something that you're particularly proud of in your business from the kind of last few years, and then I'll hand straight back to Hannah after that to close us down. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. When I look at it, we have been through so much in the last 10 years. We've had Brexit, we've had COVID, we've had Ukraine, we've had Truss. Now we've had Iran, and we've seen all of these events have given a massive shock, not just to the economy, but particularly to our supply chain. We make a lot of stuff either in India or in China. And on top of which, we've had 2 long, dry, hot summers, and we we literally we rely on the rain. So it's been a relentless challenge over the last sort of 10 years. I say I've been in business 40 years, and the last 10 have felt like 40, to be honest with you. But through it, we have continued to grow. We've spread our wings across the oceans. We're now in New Zealand, Australia, all the way up to USA, Canada. And I think doing that, it's an enormous tribute really to everyone here at Grubs. And of course, my sort of like agents, etc., overseas. But we've supported them. We have done so much additional work to provide them with online. We've gone into YouTube this year in a big way, pushing things on YouTube, really because we have Lucas, but also just regular Facebook, Instagram, X, now TikTok. It's all really, I'm really proud that we haven't, with that weight of history on our shoulders, we have not thrown in the towel and got, my God, this is just too hard, this is too much, which a lot of companies have. No, we've knuckled down and we've fought, we've worked hard with our supply chain in China. I mean, we make stuff just in time in China, which is in the past has been unheard of. Now, we've learned from people like Shein and Temu. So we actually we've started this year shipping direct to retailers in the US from China. So we don't need a third-party distribution partner. We've ditched that level, so we make a better margin, and we're able to compete in the market against more established brands. So that has been a huge thing that has taken me the best part of 6 months to get my head around and push. And to be honest, without the backup of the team who said, look, we can do X, Y, and Z. The new one is banking. So now working on a walleting system. So those customers in America can pay us. They don't have to go through a third-party intermediary bank that charges them $40 a kick. It's all about that technology. That is actually it's saving not just sort of people costs, but it's actually saving exchange cost as well, and sort of like facilitating us to be a leaner organization, a stronger organization. I mean, there's so many things. I could ramble on for hours and hours about how technology has aided us, but it's a massive thing, and it is absolutely brilliant, and it's our future. Yeah, I have to say.
Thank you for that, David. I think it's been really insightful to get your thoughts on everything, really. Obviously around Grub Boots, but the wider sort of skills landscape and what that means for SMEs, internationally, but also here in Greater Manchester. So I really appreciate you joining us here today. And congratulations again to you and the team on winning SME of the Year 2026. A big thank you to you, Ollie, as well, for supporting on today's session, for sponsoring the award, obviously for GM Skills Awards. It's been really great. Obviously the awards are celebrating the talent, dedication, innovation that continue to strengthen skills and learning across Greater Manchester. And I feel like, today's conversation's been a fantastic example of that. Well, I think we'll leave it there. I hope anyone listening has enjoyed this episode, please be sure to follow. We will be having more guests join us for this series. But thank you both again, and thank you everyone for listening. We'll see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you.